Hey guys, it's Ryan, the Tokyo Fun Hunter. This is my first video blog ever, so I'm gonna see what we can do. It's November 25th, 2013. I'm outside in Tokyo. It's a nice fall afternoon, and I got Mondays off, so I just wanted to kind of give a quick shout out and answer a big question that a lot of people always ask me on finding accommodations and living in Tokyo. What is that all about? How do I do it? Is it worth it? And so I just wanted to answer a few questions. One of the things, I've done, the host family situation. I've done soccer housing. I've had my own apartment. I'm currently doing a share house. I've done camping. I've done all the different accommodations you could ever do. So I think I got some good insight for you guys. If you guys have any questions about coming and living in Japan, make sure if you have a comment, please leave me a comment. I'll try to answer it the best I can. But the first thing was, living in Japan, is it worth it? Is it expensive? Is it inexpensive? Well, if you live in Tokyo in your own apartment, it will be expensive. There are a little few things here and there you could do. So, the average rent is about, I almost said Japanese there, 70,000 yen, which equals about $700 US worth per person in a single apartment. And the apartment, to be honest, is not that big. It's really not. It's the size of, my old bathroom back in California. So they really try to cramp it up. Everything here is miniaturized to the extreme. Another way to go, if you want to get your own single apartment, if you're very, like your private life, make sure you do it on the outskirts of Tokyo, never inside central Tokyo. If you do it on the outskirts of Tokyo, yeah, it's going to be a farther commute, maybe by another 15, 20, 30 minutes, but you're going to be paying half the amount of rent. Half the amount, maybe $400 worth or $500 worth, which is really, really good. And another way to go that's very, very popular here is the Sakura house system. The Sakura house system, to be honest, I don't want to bash anybody, but I didn't have the best experiences there. You get a ton of people. If you go the super cheap route, it's like the cheapest. You could pay maybe $300 worth or 30,000 yen worth per month in a dormitory style apartment with the Sakura housing system. And you get a mixture of people, and you're all sharing each other's stuff, and sometimes you get some bad apples whom, this happened to me. Basically, I caught a guy going through my stuff. There is a lot of stealing, and everybody's using the same bathroom with one stove, one little, not a stove with 4 burners on it, one burner, one stove for 16 people. And it's impossible to get up in the morning and try to do that. But it is a great way to meet people if you're totally open to it. If you're traveling lightly, I did have a lot of fun there, but I'm just, word of caution, be careful. If you're willing to spend a little bit more, you can get your own private space. The hostels in Japan are usually really good. Spend an extra 1,000 yen to do the hosteling system, because a lot of the usual hostel is about $25 worth. And that gives you the basics, minimum basics, and a lot of people try to break up their house into itty-bitty little coveys to make it worth. Go the $35 route, pay an extra 1,000 yen or $10 for that nicer hostel. That's actually a legitimate hostel where you're safe with putting all your stuff away. It's worth the investment, I guarantee it. So, sorry about that. So, now, if you want to live in Japan, live in Tokyo, really live the lifestyle of having a great day all the time, Tokyo lifestyle, being in the city, I would really recommend a share house. Now, a share house is pretty much, you and your friends getting a huge apartment and then divvying it up. That's kind of what a share house system. There's a lot of words and terminology thrown around here in the Japanese marketplace. Some things to look out for is back in USA, back in the U.S. back in the U.S. There's basically pay first and last month's rent, maybe a deposit. Usually it's 3 months right up front. That's usually the effect here. Here in Japan, it's 6 months rent right up front. They have your first and last month's rent, the key money, and then a special kind of present to the realtor who gets you the house. it's a lot of money right up front. So, you know, you got to make sure you have enough in your savings. Try to go through places where you have a friend or somebody in the realty system that you don't have to pay the key money. In my opinion, the whole key money thing is just a joke. It's, you know, it's just going to the realtor. It's not really, you know, it doesn't cost $500 to make a key. Let's be honest. Or as well as like for insurance reasons. In Tokyo society, it's kind of like one of those things where there's a lot of bills, there's a lot of like little payments, but it's, you know, kind of the equivalent to karma. It's like, it's the way things are. It's like you always want to be showing respect to you know, people who got you the housing, and that's good. But you don't want to be overpaying for your stay. So I'll tell you what I'm doing. Basically, I'm paying about Goemon $500 worth on an amazing apartment. As you can see, I'm on my rooftop right now. You know, I own this place with a share house. It's all, you know, 3 of my best friends. They're all Japanese roommates, and you know, we've had amazing, you know, parties, lifestyle. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see in the background. That's Shinjuku right there. That's one of the central hubs of Tokyo, and it's a great place to go for nightlife. I mean, that takes about I know it looks kind of far away, but actually by the subway, it only takes about, you know, about 5 to 8 minutes. So it's really, really close, and it's you know, it's I'm not in the main city, so it's quiet enough for, you know, everybody to sleep and have a good time, and then far enough away where I'm not paying amazing amount of rent. So like that's a really good sweet spot when you're like choosing a new place to live in Japan. Yeah, I like coffee, sorry. So another big tip, so I would do the share house system. The share house system, this is an idea that just does not go around Japan that much. It's really, you know, Japanese culture, you have to have your own space. It is a very private culture. Everybody likes their own ways of doing things. So, you know, I went to my friends at the time, and back in California, this is what we do at college all the time. It's like you get a house, and you get all your friends together, and you guys all, like, you know, divvy up the rent, and you guys all live in a nice house. It's a fun time. You throw parties. You know, back in California, I went to UCSB. You know, we did beach houses, and we would divvy up each room into beach houses. That was like the way you would save rent and have a great time living with your friends. So, you know, when I approached this idea to two of my friends who I did study abroad with, they're both, one is Taiwanese, one is Japanese. You know, their minds were blown away. They couldn't believe, like, you know, they had never thought about this. You know, they were really convinced that they had to get their own apartments. They never thought about sharing a house together. And you know, we got another person involved, and he's now one of my really close friends. And you know, we looked up realty, and we found this place. And we looked at a couple other ones, and this one just felt right. But you know, of course, if you look at the rent, it looks like a lot amount, but then you divvy it between 4 people, and you're paying way less than what everybody else. I'm paying usually half the amount of rent that usually everybody else pays for a single apartment, and I'm getting that much more space. My room by itself is larger than most single apartments. I'm not making that up. It's actually like, I had a friend here who went to my house, and he was even on the television show House Hunters. And I just invited him over for coffee and drinks, and you know, he came to my house and he was blown away. He was like, holy shit, this is one of the most biggest apartments I've seen. And I'm like, really? You know, that kind of made me feel, you know, I was very pleased. But you know, usually people get single apartments that are way cramped and small. Get a share house. Getting a share house will allow you a lot more room to do activities, to have a lot more space. You can actually move your body around instead of like bending your head. And I'm a pretty tall guy, you know, I'm about 182 centimeters. So I've been on the metric system since living in Japan, which is about 6 feet. I'm about 6 feet tall. So get a share house. It's cheaper on rent, there's more space, and you get better deals within the Tokyo area. Now, of course, when picking roommates, if you're picking a roommate, should you go the Japanese route or the foreigner route? Okay, that is a very valid question. A lot of people ask me, because I have friends who want to come to Japan all the time. And in honest assumption, I mean, you gotta kind of go with your gut on this one. But foreign roommates, it's gonna be more international. You'll probably have a lot more to relate with. But if you're there for really culture and language, you know, it's going to progress 10 times more with Japanese roommates. I mean, obviously, you're immersing yourself. You're going to be doing this. But you know, a little warning tip is there will be cultural differences. There's going to be cultural differences. I mean, this took me months and months, and I'm still adjusting. I'm still learning about this. I live with all Asian roommates, and we speak in both Japanese and English, mostly Japanese. But you know, for the first 6 months, you know, every little thing that they did not kind of like agree with me, or you know, like for example, I like to get up in the morning and do a morning workout and you know, sing in the shower. It's like, you know, basic stuff. But for them, this was like the most annoying thing on the planet. They did not like it at all. And I mean, I still, don't worry, I love them. And this kind of came out later, but they would hold it in. They really hold it in Japanese society because they don't want to make waves with, you know, causing disturbances or anything like that. But after 6 months, it comes out, and it comes out pretty bigly. So you got to really make sure and always ask the question, hey guys, you know, am I doing everything right? What can I do to improve? Is there anything that you guys are upset about? You know, these are just tips for if you want to like live harmoniously with your Japanese roommates. You got to be the one to speak up. You got to be the one to ask questions. It's really important that, you know, you don't step on any toes, because it's like if you do one little thing that upsets them, that little thing is going to grow and grow and grow. They're going to start noticing little things. And I mean, I've had that situation, and everything's calmed down, but there was a rocky point where a lot of these things came forward after months, and I even asked the question, why did you guys never tell me? I had no idea. I was hoping, I never wanted to step on any toes. But it happens sometimes. So you gotta always be the one to step forward and ask the questions. I hope you guys can hear me with all the construction going on. Yeah, man, they're going a lot of construction today. But you gotta always be asking the question, hey guys, you know, what are some ways that I can help? What are some ways that, you know, am I carrying out the garbage right? How do you, like, you guys gotta set the standards on cleanliness, on noise levels, on all this stuff. You know, Japan has this thing about noise levels. You know, I've had the cops and neighbors call on me tons of times just for singing in my room. So you got to make sure, like, you know, what is acceptable and what isn't. Those are some good, really good points. Is there anything else? I had a few friends email me questions about living in Japan. Overall, is it worth it? Is it worth coming to Japan and living in Japan? Yes, it's a great place. If you're here for just travel, you know, you're gonna notice like the culture shock. And it's like, you know, they have, whenever you do study abroad, they have that graph sheet where it's like, you know, total euphoria, and then you total, you know, oh my God, I hate this, and then it just levels out. And to be honest, they're kind of right. You get like, you know, this is so exciting, and then you get like, you notice all the little things like, oh, the Japanese culture, and then it levels out, and it goes through kind of the wavelengths. In my experience, yes, definitely worth coming to Asia. It gives you a new world point, a new culture, and it makes you also, you know, very appreciative in both senses. One, where you come from, as well as the fact like, wow, I'm traveling and seeing the world. It's a really good way to expand your mind, meet new people, meet new cultures, you know, and it's really cool if you can get the language down. You know, when you go back home, everybody, you know, loves to hear it. So make sure you learn the language, because I know people when you go back home are always going to be asking you, oh, can you say something in Japanese? It's like I had my aunt even like send me on a private, you know, she hired her orchestra teacher who was Japanese on a private thing. We were in Philadelphia, and she really just wanted us to speak Japanese, and we did, but it was kind of like, I had to say it in Japanese, I'm sorry, my aunt really wants me to talk to you in Japanese, and we started talking this whole conversation, and it was just like jokingly, and you know, my aunt was like, oh my gosh. Besides the point, living in Tokyo, it's totally worth it. I would say go for it for about 6 months to a year. If you and try it out, it's really worth it. I'll make another post about getting jobs in Japan. I hope this helps. Please leave me a message. You know, this is my first time blogging, by the way, or video blogging. Yeah, video blogging, by the way. And you know, I want to see how I'm doing. And also, if you have any questions, I'll try to email you or message you as best as I can. All right, guys. So this is Ryan, Tokyo Fun Hunter. Hope everybody's well, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.